Welcome to NarrativeNook where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Oh yes, Serena Collins. Serena, what's your take on this? Not only did Nancy fail to grasp Serena's point, but she also called her out in front of everyone. You're worldly wise, so tell me, is Mirabelle a man or a woman, old or young? Moreover, is this landscape painting the work of Mirabelle? Serena, having been singled out, reluctantly stood up. Her gaze shifted to Arabella. In front of all these people, she simply couldn't bring herself to call her sister. Fortunately, Arabella didn't seem to take her seriously, appearing nonchalant. Mirabelle is a woman, and her age is indeed not that old, Serena said grudgingly, casting a glance at Arabella. If she lied, wouldn't Arabella throw the evidence right in her face in front of everyone? A long time ago, when George and Jennifer visited the Collins family, they had personally confirmed that Arabella was the renowned painter Mirabelle and the calligrapher Labella. If Serena tried to bluff now, she would be the one to lose face. Rather than embarrassing herself, it was better to let her friend Nancy bear the brunt. Mirabelle is a woman? Just like the straight-A student said. So, is Nancy lying? Are you saying Nancy is trying to put on a brave face? Weren't Nancy and Serena good friends? Why would Serena personally embarrass her? Whispers spread through the crowd. Nancy clearly couldn't believe that Serena would disgrace her in front of so many people. That was not what friends did. Serena, didn't your family spend $10 million on a painting by Mirabelle a year ago? Suddenly, someone remembered this and hurriedly asked Serena. Serena gladly changed the subject. Yes, our family did indeed purchase a painting by Mirabelle for $10 million last year. Serena, your family is so rich, just buying a $10 million painting like that. The Macmillan family can afford $10 million, and so can you. No wonder you two could become in-laws. People started to flatter again. Serena felt a bit uneasy. She was afraid Arabella would publicly expose her fake rich girl act, and even more afraid Arabella would deny her engagement to Romeo. So, she preempted, "All right, the competition is about to start. Let's focus on that. Serena, since your family has bought Mirabelle's work, can you tell us, does Mirabelle really not give any discounts?" Someone else asked. Serena looked at Arabella again, reluctantly admitting, "When she says no discounts, there are no discounts." Everyone was surprised that the straight-A student was more knowledgeable than Nancy and was on the same level as Serena. In contrast, Nancy seemed a bit pitiful and pathetic. Nancy couldn't understand why Serena wouldn't help her. Serena could only quietly make up an excuse to divert her. And the people from Westerly College, looking at Arabella, were all full of admiration. The straight-A student was really impressive. She easily embarrassed the people from Summerfield College. Arabella, you're amazing. No wonder President Barton personally chose her to lead the team. She truly had the ability and strength. The talent competition was about to take off in a blink. The first round was all about musical instruments. Serena, one of the shining stars from Summerfield College, took the stage for a violin performance. Sitting among the audience, Arabella was first disturbed by the deafening applause and cheers. Soon, however, she found herself more annoyed by the discordant violin melodies. It turned out that Serena's violin performance was even more displeasing than her piano playing. Thankfully, the performer on stage soon changed, and the music gradually took a turn for the better. As Arabella juggled her work on her phone and the violin melody, she lifted her gaze, intending to give her eyes a break. To her surprise, Alma Collins was standing under the spotlight, violin in hand. Alma, with one hand on the violin and one on the bow, was an image of ecstasy. Her performance was so enchanting that it set the whole audience ablaze. She was indeed another shining star from Summerfield College, often compared to Serena. Both of them were not only exceptionally beautiful but also extremely talented. But to Arabella, Alma's violin performance was just barely passable. Arabella continued working on her phone until Alma finished her piece, earning high praise from the judges. The applause from the audience was like rolling thunder, wave after wave, seemingly endless. With a radiant smile, Alma took the microphone and announced, "While we have contestants from many prestigious schools today, the competitor I was most looking forward to facing didn't participate. I don't want to leave with regrets, especially since she tried to come to Summerfield College. I'd like to invite her to take the stage and show us all her unique talents." With that, she directly called out Arabella. Everyone was left stunned. Alma, the darling of Summerfield College, had just challenged the top scholar from Westerly College. Her confident smile carried the aura of a winner as the spotlight began its hunt for Arabella. The atmosphere was electric. Alma dares to challenge the best student. Someone from Westerly College gasped. Even if Arabella can play the violin, it's unacceptable for Alma to spring this on us without any notice. This is a total lack of respect. She's clearly trying to put Arabella in a difficult position and make Westerly College look bad. She definitely has ulterior motives. This is outrageous. Finally, the spotlight found Arabella, drawing many eyes to her. The short-haired girl next to Arabella offered, "Let me go up. Although my major is piano, I do know a bit about the violin." Anything was better than going up there knowing nothing at all. It all comes down to whether our top scholar dares to accept the challenge. The host, who was the president of the Summerfield College Student Council, said passionately, "Let's give a big round of applause to encourage her." The applause was deafening. All eyes were on Arabella. Westerly College's students were growing anxious. They're being too much. As the hosts, they should at least try to smooth things over instead of egging everyone on. "Arabella, you didn't sign up for the competition. You can totally refuse." Having just finished her work, Arabella stood up casually. "Sure, I can play along." The girl beside her was about to dissuade her when Arabella took the violin from her hands, saying, "I'll just borrow this for a bit." "No," the girl nervously whispered, "this is a cheap violin. It won't sound as good as Alma's." Who didn't know the wealth of the Collins family? They indulged in only the best. "It's no problem," Arabella said, clutching her violin as she ascended the stage. The crowd's jeers escalated. They hadn't expected the straight-A scholar to have such courage to accept the challenge so readily. This competition was shaping up to be quite the spectacle. The applause from the audience was like a wave, one crashing after another. Perhaps not expecting Arabella to accept the challenge, Alma seemed even more smug. It wasn't enough to be brave on such a grand occasion. The potential humiliation could spread to her family, to Westerly College. People would laugh at the straight-A student, wouldn't they? The host introduced Arabella, and she began to perform. Serena, amongst the audience, knew of Arabella's fame as a piano master, but Alma didn't. Serena thought Arabella was proficient in piano, but not necessarily in violin. To lose to a college student on the violin as the renowned maestro Melody, wouldn't that be the real humiliation? She didn't care who won or lost. Whether Arabella or Alma lost, it would be a pleasure to watch. Arabella, already strikingly beautiful, stood on the stage. Under the spotlight, she was incomparable. Her right hand, holding the bow, was incredibly steady. Her left hand was precise, her bowing even. The melody she played was beautiful, and her tone was impeccable. Her music was as clean and beautiful as she was. Just standing on stage, she emanated an air of sophistication and artistic temperament far above the rest. Everyone was stunned. They hadn't expected the straight-A scholar to play the violin so well. They even less expected her incredible composure. Standing on stage, she seemed like an untouchable dream. Her performance was pure and incisive, noble yet fierce. Her unparalleled tone and powerful interpretation had an epic quality, representing nobility and resilience. The joy and sorrow of life, the abundance of emotions, the icy cold and fiery heat, under Arabella's passionate interpretation, swept over everyone like a tornado. The word stunning was not enough to describe the impact of her performance. Alma, standing to the side, was frozen. She was completely drawn into the world created by the music. It felt as if the world only contained the girl on stage, her music leading everyone through the peaks and valleys of life. When the music ended, everyone was lost in the wonderful melody. It was a while before thunderous applause broke out. The applause lasted for a while. The girl on the stage bowed, her posture elegant and beautiful. The violinist and music professor from Summerfield College, Professor Antonio, applauded enthusiastically, praising, "Your bowing skills and performance technique are not inferior to any master of your generation." Such high praise led to another wave of applause. Another judge picked up the microphone, emotionally asking, "I want to ask, where did this piece come from?" It was so melodious and pleasing to the ear. Just listening to it once was enough to leave a lasting impression. "It was an improvisation," Arabella truthfully answered. The audience was once again shocked. Even the judges thought she was a prodigy. That such a beautiful piece of music was an improvisation by her. "Your melody is passionate and robust, rhythmically potent and powerful. You've captured everything that this song was meant to express. I dare say that no one will interpret this song better than you, except perhaps the violin virtuoso, if she were to return to the scene." Such high praise. The audience was in an uproar. Jamie, Reagan, and Paganana were the three legends of the international violin world, considered the three towering figures representing the pinnacle of the violin field in the 21st century. Jamie was the most mysterious of them all. No one had ever seen her in person, but the 6 pieces she composed were like heavenly music, famous both domestically and abroad. Many violinists could easily master various famous violin pieces, but they were intimidated by Jamie's music because it was a true test of a performer's cultivation and inner strength. Most violinists dared not attempt it lightly. The duet Life, performed by Jamie and Reagan, has yet to be surpassed. Although she didn't show her face in life, their performance had become legendary. Now, the music professor was actually comparing Arabella to Jamie. Alma, sitting to one side, clenched her fists in frustration. Another renowned musician, Mariko, picked up the microphone and said admiringly, "Jamie composed 6 violin pieces, seemingly simple scales, but they are imbued with rich, ever-changing emotions. They demand high levels of cultivation, musicality, pitch, technique, etc. from the performer." He looked at Arabella and said warmly, "Few violinists dare to attempt her pieces in public for fear that their performance won't even reach half of the master's standard. But now, your improvisation gives me hope. I believe you will break this convention and become the next legend. I have high hopes for you. Keep going." Arabella gave a serene smile and thanked him for his comments. Another Violin Association director picked up the microphone and said kindly, "I dare say that there is no violinist in the country who can perform as freely as you do. You have given us a luxurious auditory feast. This is the first time I have been part of such a feast in 36 years. I am deeply moved and fully immersed. I hope to see you shine at the International Violin Competition next time." The applause from the audience was like thunder in the sky, fervent and passionate. Who would have thought that Arabella would receive such unanimous praise from the judges? "Thank you for bringing us such a beautiful song. I can only say that my trip here today was worth it. Would you be interested in becoming my last disciple?" The last judge on the panel asked warmly. Everyone was stunned because the speaker was the president of the Solterra Violin Association, Oswald. In his youth, he had received 2 months of guidance from Reagan. Although Reagan didn't formally accept him as a disciple, his violin skills improved tremendously after these 2 months, and he became a shining star in the international violin world. Because of his connections with Reagan and his status in the violin world, many prestigious families wanted their children to study under him. He never took disciples and only taught one person the violin. That person was said to be Alma. Everyone thought that Alma would become Oswald's only true disciple. Alma also took pride in this. But now, in front of so many people, Oswald was extending an olive branch to Arabella. This was unbearable for Alma. Alma was so embarrassed she couldn't utter a word. Faced with such a great temptation, Arabella disagreed, let alone shed tears of gratitude. Instead, she smiled lightly and said, "Thank you for your kindness, Professor Oswald, but at the moment, I just want to study medicine to save lives. I'm sorry to disappoint you." Everyone was too shocked to speak. Was she crazy? Being chosen as Oswald's sole apprentice was like finding a shortcut to success. With his guidance and her talent, she could become a rising star in the violin world. Fame, fortune, and pursuing a life of dreams, all those were right in front of her. All she had to do was say yes. But she refused. Oswald was taken aback. There were countless people begging him for tutelage, none of whom he deemed worthy. But this girl, she dared to say no. You can still pursue your medical studies while honing your violin skills. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. With your talent, you can definitely make a name for yourself in the world of violin, Oswald suggested, leaving everyone astonished. He was actually pleading with her. Pleading with a seemingly ordinary first-year student. And not just any student, but one from Westerly College. Not Summerfield College, not Helgen College, but Westerly College. His insistence was shocking to everyone. Especially to Alma, who couldn't believe that Arabella's talent could make Oswald go this far. After all, her parents had tried everything, even pulling strings abroad, but still couldn't convince Oswald to take her as a true apprentice. Usually, Oswald would only give her some guidance, never fully sharing his secrets. But Arabella had indeed caught his eye. "Thank you, Professor, but I believe one can't serve two masters." Not to mention, she had multiple things to manage, including taking care of Grandpa Tanner's feelings. After all, Grandpa Tanner had hinted for years that she should inherit his legacy. If she were to become Oswald's apprentice now, she could already imagine Grandpa Tanner's explosive reaction. "I want to dedicate all my energy to medicine. I'm sorry to disappoint you." Arabella politely declined. Not only Oswald but everyone else was also shocked that Arabella had once again refused. Unbelievable. Now, Alma was convinced that not only was she crazy, but she was also seriously sick. But Oswald still didn't want to give up on such a promising talent. He smiled and said, "If you ever change your mind, feel free to find me at, or I can add you on WhatsApp later." Everyone was once again shocked. And Alma was green with envy. What made this Arabella so special? Though her violin performance was indeed a bit better, it didn't warrant such high regard from Oswald. Could it be because of her looks? She turned to look at Arabella, noticing the young girl's nonchalance as she expressed heartfelt gratitude and gracefully took her leave. Damn it, this little wretch must be thrilled to bits on the inside, yet she managed to maintain such a casual demeanor on the outside. No wonder Serena despised her. At this moment, Alma couldn't stand it either. She's such a pretender. Alma silently vowed to herself that she would one day outshine this girl. Upon Arabella's return to the audience, the students of Westerly College practically hailed her as a legend. "Arabella, you're amazing. How can you play the violin so beautifully? How many years have you been studying? Today, you didn't only bring honor to yourself but to Westerly College as well. You're so extraordinary, so wonderful. Arabella, I admire you so much. I declare from today onwards you're my idol." From the moment Arabella set foot in Summerfield College, she had brought honor to Westerly College. As for them, they were just dead weight. "I think I can smash my violin when I get back. Practicing for all these years, and I'm still not a fraction as good as Bella." One of them lamented. "I hope Arabella plays a wrong note just to prove she's human." A freshman with such an exceptional level of musicality, causing such a profound impact. Only then can she achieve higher worth, making life even more beautiful. "I always thought it was my violin that wasn't good enough, too cheap, that's why it didn't sound as good as the others." The girl who lent Arabella her violin confessed, "Until just now, when I saw with my own eyes that the violin I thought was an embarrassment shine in your hands, I realized it wasn't the violin's fault. It was me. Arabella, if anyone dares to defame you, I'll be the first to curse them. You're so down-to-earth and talented, I won't stand for anyone talking nonsense about you. You're not only academically excellent and musically gifted but also incredibly beautiful and kind. It's too much." Everyone kept chattering around Arabella until she reminded them to focus and prepare for the competition, and then they finally shut up. As for Serena, she had no words to describe how she felt. She thought she would feel satisfied seeing Alma lose, but at this moment, a surge of jealousy and resentment made her restless. How could that be? How could Arabella be so incredible? Her performance even made Oswald extend an olive branch to her repeatedly. That's Oswald, the president of the Violin Association. She knew Arabella was a great pianist, but she didn't expect her to be so much better at the violin. She and Martha even thought about making Arabella make some mistakes to cover up her own spotlight. But now, it seemed like Arabella was good at everything, making it really hard to find fault. Serena clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. She was full of resentment, angry that someone had taught Arabella so many talents. She was supposed to be the least favored in the Murphy family. She's supposed to be living at the bottom. But now, she had become an unreachable goddess, causing unbearable frustration. Where on earth did she get such connections, and how did she manage to learn so much in such a short span of time? Alma was seething too. The other day, Arabella had made a scene at the local country club, standing up for a waiter and causing public embarrassment to Alma and her friends. The incident was still fresh in Alma's mind. And then there was the time when their grandmother woke up from a coma. Both families had gone to the hospital to visit her, and Alma had tried to team up with Arabella to kick Serena out of the Collins family. But Arabella had shot her down with cold mockery. Arabella had said, "Has Serena been eating your food, drinking your water, spending your money? What business is it of yours if she stayed in the family? Keep it up, and you'll be the first one to leave the Collins family." Alma had wanted to negotiate with Arabella, considering that Serena was not of Collins blood, while she and Arabella were the true Collins heiresses. But Arabella had just given her a warning look and refused to stoop to her level. Because of this, her mother, Beverly Collins, had given her a good tongue-lashing when she got home. Her mother had said that Arabella would never conspire with her and called her stupid, inferior to Arabella in every way. Now, Alma had to find a way to regain her standing. Half an hour later, Arabella waited for the group of classmates to finish their performance on stage before she led her team to leave. She had to go to another auditorium to check on Joyce and Maya's professional competition. As she was passing by backstage, Alma stopped her in her tracks. "Bella, let's play a game of chess." This caught the attention of many people around them. Was Alma still upset about losing and wanted another challenge? Soon, people started sending messages on WhatsApp, secretly calling others over to witness that event. "I don't have time to play games with you." Arabella's tone was dismissive. She was about to lead her team away when Alma blocked her path. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes to determine the winner. They didn't have to finish the game. As long as someone was leading in 5 minutes, they would be declared the winner. Arabella knew Alma was still not over their past conflicts. She wanted to challenge her to a game of chess, which meant her chess skills must be on par with her violin skills. You don't even ask what Arabella is good at, and you just propose a game of chess. You just want to beat Arabella at something you're good at, right? Don't you think that's not very sportsmanlike? Fine, no need to play. Arabella gave it to you. You agreed to the bet, and you have to accept the loss. Even that basic principle you don't understand. Oh, I get it. It must be because your teacher wanted to take Arabella as his last disciple, so you're feeling unbalanced. Arabella, beat her. Show her that there are always people better than her. Let's go. Arabella still didn't want to play with her. Alma once again blocked her way. Just 1 minute to decide the winner. With things coming to this point, Arabella raised an eyebrow. She really wanted to compete? People from Westerly College couldn't help but retort, "Have you been pampered from a young age, never lost, so you can't accept defeat?" Arabella already said she has no time, and you're still sticking around like a stubborn stain. Haven't you heard the saying, every dog has its day? What stubborn stain? Alma is the Collins family's heiress, and if you say she's a stubborn stain, then you're worse than that. Exactly, Alma is willing to compete with you. That's because she respects you. A top scorer should be capable of everything, right? It's just a minute-long game, and you've been wasting more than a minute here already. Exactly. Bella, I challenge you. If you're not good at chess, you can choose another talent, Alma confidently proposed. I can play the piano, chess, and even do painting and calligraphy. Alma, being the daughter of a wealthy family, had plenty of opportunities to hone her talents. Many around her secretly admired the shimmering aura she exuded. If they could, they'd love to have the same impressive background and talents and be the object of others' envy. Fine, chess it is, Bella reluctantly agreed. 1 minute. Alma was secretly delighted. She borrowed a chess set and graciously allowed Bella to make the first move. "No need, I'll give you a 3-move advantage." "What?" Alma was insulted by Bella's offer. She smiled and said, "That wouldn't be fair, would it? Competition is about fairness. I'll call you sis. Respecting the elders is a traditional virtue in Solterra. So please, make the first move." Bella didn't want to waste her breath arguing, so she made the first move. Alma thought Bella was speechless in the face of her wit and felt even more triumphant. However, her smile didn't last long as she watched the game progress. It was supposed to be a simple game, but Bella maneuvered with such ease, leaving Alma at a disadvantage. Her pieces were continuously captured by Bella. In less than a minute, the outcome was clear. Many of the onlookers who had just arrived saw the end of the game, with Bella as the winner. Bella maintained her indifferent demeanor, as if winning or losing was a trivial matter to her. But Alma sat before the chessboard, thunderstruck. She had believed she could maintain a lead for at least a minute. But now, looking at the disastrous state of the board, she was filled with shame and couldn't utter a word. How could this be? How could Bella's chess skills be so formidable? It was one thing for her to be good at violin, but to also crush her at chess. As Bella stood up, someone exclaimed, "It's Professor Oswald." Professor Oswald had somehow appeared amongst the crowd. No one knew how long he'd been standing there watching. His warm smile and approving applause were directed at Bella. "Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I had no idea you were also skilled at chess. Who did you learn from?" To win over Alma in both violin and chess was impressive. Alma was equally talented in chess as she was in violin. But instead of boasting about her mentor, Bella asked, "What brings you here, Professor Oswald?" Instead of judging the competition, what brought him backstage? "I wanted to add you on WhatsApp," Professor Oswald replied with a gentlemanly smile. He had mentioned, while commenting on Bella's violin performance, that if she ever changed her mind, she was welcome to seek him out at the Violin Association, or he could add her on WhatsApp. He was serious. As soon as Bella left the audience area, he followed. Everyone was stunned by his actions. It was clear he was very fond of Bella and satisfied with her performance. He intended to take her as his student. In front of so many people, Bella didn't want to embarrass him. She took out her phone, opened her QR code, and handed it over. After scanning her contact card, Professor Oswald said, "Added." After accepting his request, Bella commented, "I have another team to coach for the competition. I won't keep you, Professor." "Very well," Professor Oswald nodded, "feel free to reach out anytime." As he walked past Alma, he didn't spare her a glance. He thought that by pretending not to see her, he could spare her the bruise on her ego. But Alma misunderstood his good intentions and felt even more jealous and dissatisfied. She felt that Professor Oswald was ignoring her and repeatedly showing favor to Bella, treating her as invisible. Everyone else was gathering around Bella. "Bella, you're amazing. Not only are you good at violin, but your chess skills are also top-notch. When did you start playing chess?" Some folks have miscalculated their moves. They wanted to beat you but ended up embarrassing themselves again. "Ha ha ha, exactly." Just then, a resonant and robust voice reached every ear. Well, let me see what's happening over here. It's quite lively." Everyone turned to the voice, surprised to see none other than the renowned Mr. Eugene. Mr. Eugene is a well-known chess master, mastering all types of chess, especially Go. Because of his extreme obsession with chess, many people called him chess fanatic. Why would such a big shot appear at a small competition like the one at Summerfield College and even wander backstage? Could it be, like Oswald, Mr. Eugene was also looking for gifted young players in the competition to take as disciples? Thinking that, everyone's gaze turned to Alma. Alma's Go skills were taught by chess master Morgan, who was said to have received guidance from Mr. Eugene. However, Alma lost to Arabella. Would Mr. Eugene still consider her worthy? Would he take her as his protégé? Can someone tell me what's going on? Why are there so many people? There were too many people. The old man couldn't spot Arabella. He had heard from Grandpa Beck that Arabella would lead the team to Summerfield College today, so he came here specifically to catch her. The girl had promised to play a few games of chess with him, but it had been 3 to 4 months, and he hadn't seen her. He had to make a special trip here. Unreliable. What's more infuriating was that Grandpa Beck had been flaunting photos of him and the girl conducting experiments, irking everyone. Every time they saw the girl experimenting with him, the group couldn't help but scold Grandpa Beck, but he seemed to enjoy it. Today, Grandpa Charles, the principal of Summerfield College, was busy. Instead, Vice Principal Mr. Leopold was bending over backward to accommodate him, looking very respectful. I heard that Alma from the Collins family is playing Go against Arabella from Westerly College. Mr. Leopold said with a jovial smile. Good heavens! Arabella was playing Go here? Who dared to challenge Arabella? Wasn't that just asking for trouble? Let's go have a look. Maybe he should be ready to call 911, considering Arabella's chess skills could easily give someone a heart attack. Mr. Leopold thought the chess master was interested in the game of Go. As soon as he took a few steps forward, he noticed that Arabella was ready to leave. The game seemed to be over. Grandpa Eugene? Arabella was surprised to see the old man and regretted wasting a minute with Alma earlier. Otherwise, she could have avoided Mr. Eugene. You young lady, I had to come all this way to catch you. As soon as Mr. Eugene saw Arabella, he couldn't help but start nagging. Everyone was taken aback. It sounded like Mr. Eugene had come to find Arabella. But Arabella seemed like she wanted to slip away. You never told me who you gave those jade chess pieces I gifted you. His words detonated like a bomb in the crowd. Everyone was too stunned to speak. From the sounds of it, Mr. Eugene seemed to have quite the relationship with Arabella. The jade chess set that Mr. Eugene mentioned, could it be the same one that caused a sensation worldwide? It was rumored that the selection process for the jade stones was rigorous. Any stones with cracks, uneven color, or too small were dismissed as materials. It took 3 years to select the materials and another 3 to craft the 361 pieces, all by hand. Each piece was valued at $20,000. When it was finished, it drew the attention of many chess collectors. In the end, Mr. Eugene bought it for $18 million, treating it as a treasure. But now, it seemed that Arabella had given away that priceless chess set after Mr. Eugene gifted it to her. How dare Arabella? That was a gift from Mr. Eugene himself. Even if they ignored the immense value, the sentiment behind the gift was not something she could just disregard. She was being utterly disrespectful. Arabella smirked, asking with interest, "Are you looking to settle old scores, Grandpa Eugene?" That chess set was given to her by Mr. Eugene when he lost a game to her. Fair and square. It was hers, and she was free to do with it as she pleased. That chess set was my pride and joy. I insist that you play a game of chess with me today. Mr. Eugene demanded. Here. Arabella glanced around. The crowd had grown quite large, blocking every exit. The old man was ecstatic, right here. He had finally found her. How could he not satisfy his craving for a chess game? For a man of his stature, finding a worthy opponent was a rare opportunity. Are you sure? Arabella asked with a playful smile. He had lost the last game they played, with only a few servants as witnesses. But now, with so many students around, if he lost again, was he not afraid of losing face? Absolutely. Mr. Eugene was full of confidence, whispering in Arabella's ear, "I've been practicing a lot at home these past few months. Just to beat her once and regain his dignity." Arabella found it amusing. So what's the wager this time? No wager, no wager. Mr. Eugene waved his hands dismissively, just a friendly game. He couldn't afford to lose another valuable possession to her, especially if she was just going to give it away again. He couldn't take it. By now, the expressions on the faces of the spectators were beyond shock. The famous chess master, Mr. Eugene, had personally sought out Arabella backstage at the Summerfield College competition to challenge her to a game of chess. Just how skilled was Arabella at chess? Although she had beaten Alma in the previous match, was that enough to impress Mr. Eugene? Alma, on the other hand, clenched her fists in disbelief. Why? Why did everyone favor Arabella, giving her so much face? The key point was that Arabella had been raised in the Murphy family. How did she have the connections to meet someone as influential as Mr. Eugene? Alma was somewhat upset because even her teacher hadn't had the chance to meet Mr. Eugene, let alone a young girl like Arabella. But Mr. Eugene had Vice Principal Mr. Leopold bring the chess set, sat down, and began a match with Arabella.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.